Now, as attacks continue to ravage Ukrainian cities, India Today travels from Mariupol to Gorlovka, where the battle rages on. In fact, parts of that city has witnessed Russian control already. India Today's Geeta Mohan continues to bring us this ground report right from that combat zone. Let's have a look.
A city in ruins, out of food, out of water, out of electricity. India Today is in Gorlovka, a city near Donetsk Oblast in eastern Ukraine. The war trail has taken us to Donetsk, to Mariupol, to Gorlovka. India Today is the world's first television crew to reach deep inside the Russian-controlled territories of Ukraine. The after effects of massive shelling here in Gorlovka. Shards of glasses now being removed by the residents. They're not leaving the city that has come under heavy shelling from the Ukrainian side. The windows broken, and now this lady over here, this old lady over here, is cleaning, tending to her garden. She's cleaning the glass, shards of glass, and what she says is that her flowers and her garden has been destroyed. A home, a garden that she maintains with much love, now absolutely destroyed, and so she's trying to retrieve whatever she can of the garden that is left, because they've just sown the seeds for the next season. And before the flowers can bloom, before the saplings can even be visible, there are glasses everywhere, shards of glass everywhere. Very sad sight, and you'll see this in the entire neighborhood here in most parts of Gorlovka that has come under heavy shelling. Non-stop bombing might have destroyed much of the concrete, but the city's soul is intact. Elena Vladimir, residing in Gorlovka for years, says she will rebuild her home.
Все вычистили, цветов насажали. Ничего, вычистим, еще лучше насадим.
This woman says that in 15 there was shelling here, they bombed everything, but they rebuild it again. So they put the flowers here and make this territory pretty. And now again the shelling and everything destroyed. But she says, oh, it's not bad, we will just repair it again.
Bollywood is giving Elena good company and keeping her spirit high even in these times of war.
The song, Jimmy, Jimmy. Oh, Jimmy, Jimmy, Ася, Ася, Индия, Радж Капур, люблю, не могу, всю жизнь люблю индийские фильмы. У меня столько дисков, Бобби есть, у меня много, да, Рам Шиам, Зита Гита. This is Olha's house. She does not want to show her face because she has relatives in Ukraine as well. So it could be a security issue for her family members on the other side. But she's here. This is her house, which was destroyed. You're seeing new bricks because they're rebuilding. That's how resilient this town has been of Gorlovka, because they've been suffering this for a while. Olha over here will explain what happened. Olha, what happened to your house?
Что произошло с вашим домом?
15 июня 2015 года производился обстрел. Было 2 прилета именно по улице Шашурина, дом 15. И был прилет в первый этаж, фундамент этого дома, и рядом стояк, 4-й этаж, просто насквозь.
So it was 2 hits in the 15th year, and one of the hit was hit this house, and her flat was ruined. Door was out, and it was impossible to live here after that shell.
Right. Impossible to live out here. This is the house that is being rebuilt, and just if Satya goes to the window, beyond this point is where the Ukrainians are holding forth. So every time there is attack or a fierce battle between the Ukrainian side and the Donetsk or the Russian side, this This town of Golvokha is the first town to fall victim. And this building, this neighborhood is the one that suffers the most. I'll take you outside to show exactly how the situation is outside also. If you come out over here, the buildings are absolutely dilapidated because they have been suffering this kind of shelling since 2014. And while the people still continue to live, right now, because the situation is so bad, the neighborhood is almost empty. There are older people, some younger lot who are still here, but playground over there, absolutely abandoned. Children do not come out. Some of them do come out if they're here and play amid the sounds of explosions, of shelling. So these are unreal times for people of Golvokha, but also an entire community over here that has been witnessing the fiercest battle between Ukraine and Russia, between Ukraine and Donbass.
Donetsk is where Russian control ends. 1 kilometer from here, Ukrainians are holding fort.
This is Verkhnitsyevsk, where the Russians have taken control. This was Ukrainian territory, but now this has come under Russian control. The village over there absolutely destroyed because of the continuous shelling from both sides. Villagers have fled. Some of them continue to stay here, but most of them have fled. That's continuous shelling going on. And where we are right now is where the injured are being brought to the Russian camp. Camouflaged nets. You can see that to ensure that this house, this little house that they've taken up, is not destroyed. Now we're going in to show you exactly what they're medics. They're military medics, medical team of the Russian military force, and they have an emergency operation or a operation theater where they are performing whatever rudimentary surgeries or procedures that can be performed. This is also the first aid center where first aid is provided to those who are injured in the attacks. And the ones who really require major medical help are taken by the medical vans to Gorlovka. Alex, if I could speak to the officers here as to what the situation is and when did they take control of this village?
Скажите, когда мы получили контроль над этим поселком?
Окончательный контроль над этим поселком я не могу вам ответить. Мы сюда зашли 4 дня назад. Именно медицина. Естественно, вы понимаете, что медики заходят тогда, когда фронт продлевается хотя бы на 6 километров вперед.
So they got here 4 days ago, and this is a medical group. So they standing behind the forward forces.
The post. So we will bring you all the reports from the forward posts over here, but this is the last position, the latest one that the Russian forces have taken control of. This was under Ukrainian control. Now the Russians have taken control of this area, and it seems like the villages over there are absolutely destroyed, but people not willing to leave.
As Russian forces press ahead, it's meeting resistance from the Ukrainians. The theatre of war has shifted from Kyiv to eastern Ukraine.
This is the last post where the Russians now have taken control. This was on the Ukrainian side, Verkhnitsyevsk, where the Ukrainians had control. Now it is absolutely under Russian control. The village absolutely destroyed. We're being told there are only 30 civilians who are still there over here. Most of them old who do not want to leave, but only 30. The rest have fled to safety either on that side or this side. Shelling ongoing from both sides, trying to regain control when it comes to the Ukrainian sides, trying to keep control when it comes to the Russian sides. Mortar shelling visible in all houses that are absolutely destroyed. There was a mortar shell that fell on this house as well, where we are standing right now. But it seems like this is going to continue because this is the last position for the Russian side, a critical one at that.
In areas where Russian forces have taken control, it's confiscated machine guns and ammunition from the defeated Ukrainians.
This is one of the homes where the Ukrainian forces had placed their machine gun. You can see the remnants, the pellets over here, and the action here on the door. So there are a few homes over here which were being used by the Ukrainian forces to base themselves out of, and the action against Russian forces were being carried out from these very places. So some of the homes over here had a huge stash of ammo, and that ammunition has been confiscated by the Russian side while the Ukrainian forces withdrew and went back to the positions that they're in now.
A lot has been said about the Ukrainians' love for their motherland and their resolve. The same holds true for the Russian troops. India today met a soldier couple in the war zone. They've left their 5-year-old at home to fight what many are calling Vladimir Putin's war.
On the front lines, fighting with the forces to take as much territory as they can. They're ensuring a DPR Russia win, and we'll have to wait and see how the Ukrainians react. There are young couples, young forces, young women fighting the forces on the other side as well. But this is a young couple fighting from this side. Tanks moving to the front line over here. We've seen this continuous action, continuous movement of tanks that have been moving from Gorlovka and other areas up to the front line. This village now has been taken and is under Russian control. Those are Russian military personnel and forces who are now moving to the front as and when they require more ammunition, more backup, more support. You'd see this road being used to go up to the front.
Russia sending reinforcements, including T-64 tanks, to the region. Moscow is determined to hold on to their hard-won gains in the last few days.
We are right at the border areas. Now the forces over here, Russian forces, preparing to go to the front. You can see that they are arming the tanks with the ammunition, the weapons that are required. And over there are two more tanks. This is a T-64, and they're readying themselves. They soon will be going to the front. You see all of them. They were taking a break, and now the forces over here moving ahead. There you can see they're all going. They're all going to the front line. This is an area in Golbanaka. We are again being told not to disclose locations, so can't show the buildings around. Satya is keeping it very specific to the tanks that are here and will be in motion very soon. They are going to go to the villages that have been captured where we were reporting from. The commander who's commanding this convoy of tanks, Sergeant Ilya. Sergeant Ilya, thank you for speaking with India Today and Aaj Tak. Where are you headed? We see you're preparing. Where are you headed right now? Don't want details, but just about the fact that the border areas that they're trying to capture.
Не нужны детали, но скажите, куда вы направляетесь, то есть какие у вас примерно задачи стоят, то, что можно сказать.
Задачи стоят на Новобахмутовку, отбить сейчас, как бы вернуть ее нам, то, что нам положено, и нашу территорию.
So they going to Novobakhmutovka village, which is in the territory of Donetsk People's Republic. It must be so they're gathering to take it back now.
What are the challenges that they're facing as forces? Are there any challenges that they're facing?
Какими проблемами вы встречаетесь как подразделение?
Проблемы со стороны Украины?
Ну, вообще, то есть какие у вас...
Operational challenges.
Да, технические какие трудности, то есть как это...
Технические трудности, да, в принципе, никаких, только машинки старые, уже уставшие. Приходится их самим заниматься, их там подкручивать, там всякие патрубки, со временем уже стали протираться и так далее, то есть...
So the only problem they meet is the old technique, and they need to repair it seldom.
Because these are the T-64s and not the T-90s, which are the latest tanks of the Russian forces.
Да, это Т-64, не Т-90, которые...
Конечно, это 64-ки, которым лет уже лет 50 им точно.
So at least these tanks are 50 years old.
They're 50 years old, but why do you think Russia thinks it's okay for a T-64 to fight Ukrainians? Do you think they do not require more power to fight the Ukrainians? Is this enough?
Вопрос такой, хватает ли Т-64 для украинцев? То есть, может, нужна техника лучше или достаточно этой?
Ну, пока мы справляемся с этой, у нас есть 64-ки, 72-ки, у нас, в принципе, вот в батальоне 40 танков, поэтому мы потихоньку справляемся с этой проблемой.
So they have 72, T-72 and T-64, so this is enough for them, as he says.
That's Sergeant Ilya saying that it's enough for them. They're going to go to the front line and ensure that the areas that are a part of Donetsk remain with Donetsk, and the Russian forces over here are going to ensure that they maintain control of the region and of the area. I'm atop a T-64 Russian tank, and they are now preparing to roll in to the border areas, the front line. The preparation is on. The weapons are being placed, ammunition being placed inside the tank. They were taking a break, but now they're preparing themselves to go to where we're coming from. The last village that now is under Russian control. Ukrainian forces have been pushed back, and they require all the support, all the backup that's required, and therefore these tanks soon are going to go rolling into those villages. Atop a T-64. With video journalist Satya Rautre, Geeta Mohan for India Today.
Now, as the war intensifies across Ukraine, both countries have now seen heavy damage to their weaponry. India Today's Geeta Mohan found Russian tanks that were damaged by Ukrainian army but were being repaired on that. Let's have a look.
Amid massive shelling and bombardment over here, we found this tank, a Russian tank that was hit by the Ukrainian side. We're in one of the undisclosed locations where these tanks are being brought in. They will be repaired, is what officials and officers over here are saying, and then sent back to the front. So a massive damage being caused by both sides, the Ukrainian forces as also the Russian side, when it comes to the war that is underway between Russia and Ukraine. One such tank over here, but there are many that come for repair over here, and then once repaired, they send back to the front line. With video journalist Satya Rautre, on the way to Gorlovka, Geeta Mohan for India Today.
Meanwhile, on ground in Ukraine, Russia continues its onslaught in Kiev suburb of Irpin. Shelling there continues. Gaurav Sawant, who's on ground, braving all the odds, bringing us this ground report.
Shelling at Russian positions, and this is 21st century urban warfare that you witness. Now, this is a built-up area. The plumes of smoke that you see on the horizon there, that is where Russian troops are deployed, and that is where Russians are regrouping according to Ukrainian army, and they are systematically being targeted. This is an active battle zone where India Today is on ground zero. There is a gun position not far from here. There are also grads deployed here, those multi-barrel rocket launchers. Now, they are targeting the Russian strongholds, and if you notice a large plume of smoke, and not just one concentration but multiple concentration, that is where this active firing is going on, the shelling is going on. That is where the Russians have regrouped to mount an operation against Ukraine. But the Ukrainian army isn't giving up without a fight. In fact, they're mounting swift counter-offensives to take on the Russian forces. What was said initially, that the Russians are actually saying that they will reduce attacks on Kiev, but on ground that is not what is happening. On ground there has been intense shelling of localities around Kiev. Now, there are pitched battles that were being fought both at Irpin and Bucha. We are on ground zero. All these houses are completely abandoned. A lot of houses also bear signs of destruction that has been witnessed in this area. But actively that area is being targeted. You can hear these artillery rounds. You can hear the shelling that's happening in the backdrop, and almost non-stop. There are attacks and there are counter-attacks, and the artillery pieces, they keep moving because there are also weapon locating radars. That's what we've been told. So artillery pieces, and they're in direct firing mode at the Russian positions. So they fire and then they move to another direction, so that when the counter-attack comes, the artillery pieces have already moved by then. So this is is the kind of warfare that's happening on ground on the outskirts of Kyiv. We're barely 30 kilometers from Ukraine's capital, Kyiv, where this fighting is taking place. Day 35, day 36, if it was anticipated that there would be a reduction in shelling or firing or hostilities on ground, that clearly isn't the case. With cameraman Lalit Mohan Joshi in Irpin, on the outskirts of Kyiv, Ukraine, Gaurav Sawant for India Today.